So before we begin our activity where we engage with our choice board regarding language features, I'd like to share with you a model unit that I taught to my fourth graders in English language development. We were doing an electricity unit, and within the unit, we read two informational texts. What's the big idea, Ben Franklin? And who was Thomas Alva Edison? Then we learned about electric circuits and specifically closed and open circuits. And we built a lighthouse out of 2-liter soda bottles, flashlight bulbs, and tiny batteries and wire. And so that eventually segued into a social studies unit on North Carolina lighthouses. But back to our electricity unit, I want us to think about how I identified the language features that I wanted to teach to my students and what supports did I provide in my unit. And our two learning activities involved a poster describing either Ben Franklin's contributions to electricity or Thomas Alva Edison's contributions to electricity. We also had to explain to a partner how an electrical circuit works. And so we're going to focus in on our learning activity where we had to explain to a partner how an electrical circuit worked. And so we obviously were working in the key language use of explain and our language expectation. We were constructing explanations, scientific explanations, and our language function that I selected was to describe observations and or evidence about the phenomenon of electricity through abstract nouns to introduce concepts, ideas, and technical terms. And so, in order to do that, we begin with co-constructing a graphic organizer with the class that described the transfer of electricity that occurred in our homemade lighthouse. And each student would then explain to a partner the transfer of electricity in our lighthouse example. And as you can see, this is the particular graphic organizer that we constructed with the class that described the transfer of electricity from the battery to the lamp bulb and then transferring as light energy to the surroundings. And so, how did I teach those abstract nouns to my students that had to do with the explanation of the transfer of electricity? And so, first of all, I simply identified those abstract nouns. Store, as far as storing electricity, I felt this was an important word to teach because of the multiple meanings of the word store. And so I taught our students the action of storing and demonstrated with hand motions for storing. Transfer was another abstract noun. We simply demoed this concept with transferring a book from one student to another throughout the class while we created a diagram with arrows. And then finally, energy. I taught this demonstrating by using examples and non-examples. For example, activity versus non-activity, where our students actually use their physical bodies to demonstrate that. And we also drew that. And so that brings us to our choice board when we want to consider language features and dig in. I'm giving you all the choice. You can take your sample unit, a unit that you are currently teaching or getting ready to teach, and describing what language features you would teach and how you'll support them. And we have here a unit template that you will click on, and it will give you a template in which to insert those language features that you're going to teach to your students that are tied to your sample unit. Or you may choose the Jamboard, where you will reflect on teaching language features. And so you're either going to click on the Jamboard and record your reflections on teaching language features, or you're going to go into your own sample unit and identify those language features that you wish to teach.